I knew it! I knew it. This is now officially a series of me reviewing every single game based on Sony Animation films. Which do you think hurts more? No, not the requestee. Goodness no. I'm not mad. I'm asking for myself. It's the Keyblade, isn't it? Yeah. From open season to Surf's Up to the frickin' Smurfs, we now arrive at Hotel Transylvania for the DS of all systems. Now, I've only seen the second of the trilogy, which was actually pretty fun to watch. But we have to go back to the first film and see how these Muppets adapted the... Wait a minute, way forward? This way forward? Oh shit! So, the story. It's very basic. Mavis has to save Johnny from the clutches of Quasimodo, who is planning to eat. Along the way, Mavis travels all over the hotel doing odds and ends for her father Dracula and the monster guests during her 118th birthday. And that's about it. I've read baby books that have more of an engaging plot. The main part of the story is Mavis trying to get her father to save Johnny, but he keeps giving her these random tasks that any of the servants and bellhops could easily do. It's like the writers had a beginning and an ending, and had no idea how to connect the two. So what we ended up with is a cannibal chef with the slowest boiling pot in the world that holds a captive entree who's waiting for his girlfriend vampire to save him just as soon as she's done doing all of the hostess chores and making sure the werewolf's pups aren't causing a ruckus. Believe me, it's hard to criticize a story that barely fills out a list of instructions on how to make toast. Moving on. It's kinda hard to describe the gameplay without talking about the game design, but it is a Metroidvania game. But unlike many Metroidvania games, you're not given any weapons or abilities right off the bat. No pun intended. In fact, the only thing you can do is move, jump, and walk slowly. It's not until much later in the game, after each boss battle, that you get any upgrades to your arsenal, such as the glare that stuns enemies to use as makeshift platforms, and a lightning blast to kill enemies as well as power generators. You can also turn to a mist or a bat to access small and high-to-reach areas, as well as run up walls for more exploration. Because you don't get these at the start, your only form of attack is jumping on enemies like Super Mario. You would think that these bellhops and servants wouldn't be so nasty towards Mavis, the daughter of your boss, but my guess is that they're underpaid. I must stress that the controls are perfect. Everything works the way it should. Movement is a breeze and the buttons respond beautifully. But there's always a small little niggle that keeps popping up, and the more it does, the bigger annoyance it becomes. Like jumping from the wall to land on an opposite wall or platform, being a pixel off when activating generators or stunning enemies, or my most constant favourite, getting hit when you clearly bonked the zombie bellhops on the head, or thinking you messed up and accepting a hit only for the collision detection to look the other way and give you the win instead. And I shouldn't be angry at this. Because this is a licensed game for kids, they do indeed do away with the lives gimmick and have unlimited continues, thus sending you back to the checkpoint, usually after entering a new area, unlike other Metroidvanias that send you back to the last save point. But the problem there is that when you die after a long stretch of platforming and sent back to the bloodsucking beginning to do it all over again, and especially if you have to activate the freaking generators and didn't enter a door or a new room in order to make a checkpoint, so now you have to climb all the way back up the freaking tower that has the slimy bellhops throw the ribs at you, just make you want to turn into a werewolf! Did I mention the werewolf's pups are causing mayhem in a hotel? Good, guess what? They are your boss fights. I am not kidding. Instead of some cool party crasher or some excuse to train your vampire skills, it's stopping pups from stealing clothes, ruining tapestries, etc. The only upside to these boss fights is that you stop them by utilizing your most recent skill. So there's some form of progression in terms of gameplay, but the control and collision problems I mentioned still plague the bosses. It took me several attempts to even get Uncle Griffin's clothes back. No really, The invisible man is called Uncle Griffin. Finally, throughout the hotel, there's 1400 gems to collect, and collecting 200 will give you an extra hit point. And I did not pull that number out of the musky centuries-old air. That's what the game boasts about on the back of the box. You know you're not in for a good time when that is a selling point. WayForward always has a way of making the games look awesome, if not a direct one-to-one copy of its source material. Looking at you, DuckTales, you beautiful mallard you. And this game's no exception. What would have been basic cutouts from the film are actually new 2D art pieces of the characters, and I actually prefer these to that Hotel Transylvania series. Seriously, it looks like they just flattened the film's models. So bland. So Teen Titans Go. Not the games are, though. No. These look so much more expressive and stylized, giving them a unique look. And then there's the sprite work. It animates smoothly, and I just love how Mavis jumps. It's so adorable. And don't get me started on a Mistfall. Even the enemies animate like the movie with unique death and hit reactions. Although it would have been better to have more than 3 bellhops, 3 knights, and 3 skeletons to fight, but whatever. The environments are also nicely detailed, with interactive objects being clearly defined compared to the murky backdrops, but even they have unique little details, like the hallways being littered with guest luggage. I honestly don't have anything bad to say about how the game looks. Besides the lackluster enemy variety, it's honestly one of the most clean and unique looking licensed games I've played. And the music, oh god, you have to listen to the soundtrack. This could fit any other Metroidvania game. It's atmospheric, it's moody, and when it needs to be more uplifting or more upbeat, it hits the right notes with the right melody and composition. And the track you're listening to right now, you wouldn't even assume it was from this game. You'd think it was from a Castlevania title. It's that good. This is where negativity enters the fray. This game isn't that long, but I swear to Nosferatu himself, the game consists of nothing but fetch quests. I am not kidding. What would seem to be a very simple goal of travel through the hotel and save your boyfriend is instead, Dracula wants you to do this, now go get this, now go help a guest, now go help get back an item for the guest. Oh, now they've lost their luggage, can you go find it please? And I thought Epic Mickey on the Wii was nothing but fetch quests. At least then there was some decent platforming, combat, and puzzles. While I praise the game on its presentation and the controls are actually decent, for the most part, I cannot get behind on how this game is designed. For the majority of the game there are plenty of areas you cannot access. I know it's part of the course of Metroidvania, but it does not alleviate how annoying as hell it is to remember where they are as you backtrack to them once you have the required power-up. It's a great thing that this game is made for kids because they plant a big red arrow on the map in order to say, go here, dumbass. Overall, the level design feels cramped because there's no discernible way to know where to go. Platforms go nowhere, you can't jump over enemies that block your path, and oh whoops, you're on the wrong level, better go back then. This area here is a nightmare because you have to precisely jump on this gap to retrieve the bone and have to get out the way you came. This is a beginner's trap as you will easily walk past this before looking up a walkthrough. And the guest labeling areas don't help either. Wine cellar? Haven't come across that area yet. Is it here? Okay, so how in the name of Satan's portion do I get to it? Oh, on this one grade that I have to use the miss ability for in order to sink through? Thanks game, thanks for nothing you fucking prick. I didn't finish this game. I couldn't. I came back to it several times in order to force myself to actually try and finish it, and I could not do it. I grew to hate this game the more I played it. It looks great. I cannot get over how great it looks and how great it sounds, but the gameplay gets annoying the longer it goes on, and the level design just pisses me off. I looked online for how long this game lasts, and it clocks in at least less than 3 hours. I spent longer than that trying to backtrack to several areas, dying repeatedly, and especially replaying those damn boss fights. Oh, on top of these boss fights, there are dialogue boxes that you cannot skip. I'd say that the tapestries look better with some claw marks on them. I only got as far as trying to find the luggage in the wine cellar, and after dying several times, and I repeat, several times after a long stretch of platforming, I thought to myself,
What am I even doing at this point? The game had an okay start, has some interesting ideas, it looks great, but after 3 hours of failure, I grew to hate this game. I don't want to play it anymore. It is not fun. And when I'm not having fun, the game has failed me.
Hotel Transylvania for the DS is a game that started out with promise, but the more you play, the more problems occur. Under its great presentation lies a game that could have been an underappreciated gem, but instead we have a licensed game with barely any identity beyond fetch quests, bad collision detection, and gem collecting. While it does have unlockable abilities to be used later on, they are small bits of uniqueness on what is essentially a boring slog of a game. Hotel Transylvania is not fun. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified. And please hit the like button and rate 5 stars because that really helps out the channel. Plus, if you want to help the channel out further, you can over on Patreon for just $1 a month. Thanks again everyone, and I'll see you all next time.